You know, I met a man once. Hmm. I still remember his face. He was sitting alone on a wooden bench in a quiet park, just staring at nothing, not scrolling his phone, not reading, just sitting there. I almost walked past him, but something, I don't know, something about him felt heavy, like he was carrying years, no, decades, of something unspoken. So I sat down next to him. For a while, we didn't say anything, just silence. The kind of silence that isn't awkward, but full. After a few minutes, he let out a deep breath and said, I lost my son. Hmm. Not he passed away. Not he's gone. But I lost him. There was something different in the way he said it. So I asked him, carefully, what happened? He didn't answer right away. He just looked down at his hands, old, trembling, tired hands. Then he smiled. But it wasn't a happy smile. It was the kind of smile people make when they're remembering something they wish they could forget. He said he didn't die. And then silence again. I just lost him. I didn't interrupt. I could feel this was one of those stories, the kind that doesn't come out easily, the kind that's been buried for years. He took a deep breath and started. He used to wait for me every evening. His voice softened a little. Right by the door, I could hear his tiny footsteps running the moment my car pulled in. He paused. I could almost see it, a little boy, excited, smiling, waiting for his dad. He'd jump on me the second I walked in. Dad, Dad, look what I made. The old man chuckled quietly. I barely looked. That line hit harder than anything. I'd pat his head, sometimes not even that, and say, not now, buddy, I'm tired. He swallowed. I was always tired. Tired from work, tired from life, tired from everything, but never too tired to check my phone. He shook his head slowly. Funny, isn't it? Every day, he waited. Every day, I postponed. Later, later, later. He whispered that word like it was a regret carved into his soul. Later became tomorrow. Tomorrow became next week. And then he paused again, this time longer. And then he stopped waiting. I felt that. Deep. He stopped running to the door. At first, I didn't notice. I mean, why would I? I was busy. Important. Providing. He emphasized that word, providing. As if money could replace moments. One evening, I came home, and the house was quiet. No footsteps, no excitement, just silence. I remember thinking, wow, finally some peace. He let out a small, painful laugh. I didn't realize that peace was actually distance. I walked into his room. He was sitting there, drawing. No smile. No dad look. Nothing. Just quiet. I said, hey, champ. He nodded. No eye contact. I asked, what are you drawing? He said, nothing. That word echoed, nothing. He used to draw for me every day. Now, it was nothing. The old man's voice started to shake a little. I thought it was just a phase. You know how we tell ourselves things? It's just a phase. He'll grow out of it. But he didn't. Days passed. Then months. He stopped asking me to play. Stopped asking for help. Stopped asking for anything. And one day, he paused again. Longer this time. And one day, he called me by my name. I felt chills. I didn't react at first. I thought maybe I misheard, but then he said it again. No emotion, no hesitation, just my name. I laughed it off. Hey, don't call me that. I'm your dad." He shook his head slowly, but he didn't smile. He just looked at me and said, "You're not really here anyway." Silence. Heavy, suffocating silence. I wish I could tell you that I changed after that I became a better father, that I fixed everything. He looked at me, eyes full of regret. But I didn't. I told myself, he's just being dramatic. Kids don't understand. I'm doing this for him. I kept working, kept chasing, kept choosing everything except him. Years passed. He grew up, moved out, built his own life, and we became, he struggled to say it, strangers. No calls, no visits, no dad, just distance. I tried reaching out. Later. There it was again. Later. I called him. No answer. I texted him. Short replies. Cold. Distant. I even went to see him once. He looked down, hands shaking slightly. He opened the door. And for a second, just a second, I saw that little boy again. But it disappeared quickly. I said, "I miss you." He nodded. I said, "I'm sorry." He nodded again. And then he said, "You had your time. And you didn't choose me." The old man's voice broke. And that was it. That was the moment I realized I didn't lose my son in one day. I lost him in 1,000 small moments. We sat there in silence again. The wind moved softly through the trees, but it felt like everything had stopped. After a while, I asked him quietly, "If you could go back, what would you change?" He didn't hesitate, not even for a second. "Everything." Then he shook his head. "No, not everything. Just the small moments." I would look at his drawings. I would play, even when I was tired. I would listen, even when I had work. I would choose him, again and again and again. He took a deep breath, slow, heavy. But life doesn't give you that chance. We sat there a little longer, and then he said something I'll never forget. Children don't stop loving you. They just stop trying. I felt that, deep, painfully deep. He stood up slowly, as if every movement carried weight, years of regret, years of realization. Before he left, he looked at me and said, "If you have someone waiting for you at home, don't make them wait too long." And then he walked away, slowly, quietly, alone. I never saw him again, but his story, it stayed with me. So, before you move on with your day, before you get busy again, before you say later, just think for a second. Who's waiting for you? Who's asking for your time? Who's hoping you'll notice them? Because one day they might stop asking. And the scariest part is you might not even notice, Steve, until it's too late. If this story stayed with you, subscribe to Life's Last Words for more stories that matter.